Good afternoon. My name is Scott Redler, Chief Strategic Officer at T3Live.com. Welcome to today's recap and look ahead. So we came in this morning. Futures are down, 15 to 17 handles after yesterday. We felt as if we were stalling out. We saw a little bit of weakness or loss of momentum in some of the key technology names. So made sense to reduce some risk. I actually was net short, covered some, and I'm still net short. They didn't give you much room to make money if you happen to have not been short overnight, and that's, I guess, some of the complaints of the market is that lots of action is happening overnight versus intraday. But there were some things to do in individual stock land, and I'll get into that next. First, let's take a quick chart, quick look at the chart of the SPX. Here's your double bottom. Here's when we reclaimed the 8-21 day, and this is how the trend has been ever since. Above the 8-day moving average. Right here, it looked like we were going to break it, played with it, continued. Let it catch up, went again. This time closed, went below it, reclaimed it, all the way up here to, this looks like the first time that he actually had to close below. So I went out short last night, so if I'm going to be talking about how you want to be neutral or neutral to negative as soon as we break the 8-day, because we probably could see the 21-day, I had to basically go out short. Did we break and get crushed below the lows of Friday? No. But typically you don't want to see a reversal like we had on Friday all of a sudden negated. So maybe this is a little bit of a signal that we could stall and at least see the 21-day moving average, which would be nice. I'd love to see it tomorrow on the open. We'll see. But some guys are already starting to talk about how if you use a vision, you could see the left shoulder. Here's your head, and then this could wind up being your neckline. So if you come in, then we bounce, and then you create a right shoulder, and then you get a bit of a corrective activity more towards this area, which is the 50-day. But again, that's a lot of time between now and then. At this point, all you know is that we had a gap in the spiders that didn't get filled, so the sellers actually were able to protect the gap. You go to the 5-minute chart, you could see it. Some think, when there's a gap like that, perhaps, they're going to come up and fill it first before heading lower. Sometimes it happens, but also sometimes if this unfilled gap, there wasn't enough power to push it into and squeeze the shorts, sometimes that's telling you that you're going to get more downside. So, the measured move of this range from like 205.30 to 204 flips you over down to like 202.60 or 202.70. So if that's the case, maybe you get, some more downside follow through tomorrow, but obviously it's got to break below this spot and then give you your continuation, and then we'll see if that's the case. But ultimately they've been doing a lot of things overnight. So if you feel like you're going to miss the short, you had to take some, and if they happen to open us up, this will be the resistance that we trade against. XLE didn't do a whole heck of a lot. You go to the daily chart, still below the this neckline. Remember, I drew this small head and shoulders top pattern here also, which was the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder, and then now it's a little bit below with the 50-day playing catch up, which could be some good support. Remember, when it broke the 8-day right here, okay, that was at 62.49. So if you sold on the day that it broke, after maybe being a buyer when this wedge broke to the upside, you just saved yourself, $2.50. So that's why I say if you sell the 8-day, you could basically buy a dip maybe around the 50-day. And that's how, you try and navigate. But there is some oil numbers coming out, one at 4:30 today, one tomorrow, so we'll see. Oil feels a little oversold. As far as stocks, so first thing was the news of the day was Tesla. Tesla came in, it was down $89. Their first quarter shipments were light, versus the reservations, which were great. And no one really knew what to do. So when you don't know what to do, because you have half the people out there saying it's overvalued, you don't know how to value it, it's a story stock, et cetera, et cetera. The new cars aren't going to be ready for 2 years. Let's just short. And then you have the other guys saying, they have 240 or 280,000 reservations. This is going to be Main Street. So ultimately, price wins. Okay, and if you look here, Tesla has been one strong stock. I don't care what anyone says out there. It's been very strong. And today, what did it do? It came in and held the 8-day moving average, which has been the trend since holding it here. So that's something. And then what did it do? After holding it, it took back the prior low. So if you were short it, once it got back above, 243.64, you covered. Or if you were, if you wanted to just, if you were, flatted overnight because you didn't want to be into the event, that was your buy versus the low, and then, came up and took out even this prior pivot. So that shows you a lot of strength. The stock has been really, really strong. Usually stocks that, penetrate this far up are for real, and maybe this is telling you that Tesla is really, there's going to be a big, electric car push in the world moving forward, which is not just a fad, which anyway, at this point, big move, take it step by step. Some guys made some good money fading the reservation news today. If you didn't cover the open or if you came in flat, that was your nice spot. If you want to look at the 5 minute to see what you could have seen intraday, 5 minute, here was, here was your gap down. So there you go, gap down into, support. And then once you had the low here, and this was actually the prior low, that could have been your pivot buy. So made a higher low here, so this could have been your buy versus the 240. And then once it went into this gap above the opening range of 243, which also was in conjunction to the prior low of the prior day, you had yourself a nice little $3-4 move. Then look how tight Tesla got here. Oh, my goodness, I don't know why I wasn't trading this. But anyway, nice wide range bar above this tight range and then all the way up. And now here you go again. Nice tight range above, resistance, and looks a lot stronger than weaker. So if you went short and stayed short, and you've been shorting it since Citron said short this thing, way back when, which was all the way down here, just know that you could get, you can go out of business or not stay solvent until the stock is ready. But anyway, this was a nice wide range bar, we'll see. Other focuses today were, can they take Netflix from negative to positive? And they did. Netflix actually, on the high beta tech side looks a little bit better than some other names for now. Still stair-stepping higher. If you had to be in something long, this gave you a way out today. Maybe if we were down tomorrow, it gives you another way out. And then if it stays in here, if it gets above this this 106 on volume, maybe that continues. That means it's reclaiming the 200-day. It's been riding the 8-day, since clearing it right there. I have no position in Netflix, but probably could have it, with a hedge on. Facebook, jury's kind of out still. You had this, this big, what's called side swipe when it traded below the spot on the downgrade and the virtual, on the Oculus news of being pushed out. And then today came up, retested it, and then closed near the low. So, if it breaks this, you could see more downside. You have 110.50 below, and then you have the 50-day all the way down here. So I am not in Facebook. I got out yesterday, somewhere around this 114 when the 8-day gave way. Today it gave you a decent trade, negative to positive, and then, if you have made it, you could have walked away, and also you could have reshorted this spot. So things are at least trading. So now you have here and then here. So we'll see, how we respond tomorrow. Apple, didn't really, fall apart, but it didn't, show you any real power. It closed below yesterday's low, so I'm not long Apple. Here's the 8-day, so we'll see, if it comes into that. It's been strong considering that it's still well above the 8-day and the 21-day when some aren't. I don't like to see like a push above the 200-day and a, right back below, because sometimes that's a way for people to distribute stock. We shall see. In other high beta tech land, there are some small faulty signals. Amazon, which has been above the 8-day, closed below it. So if you've been, riding the 8-day trend ever since this red dog reversal here, okay, today it closed below. Not a blaring close, not like get out of Dodge close, but sign of a little momentum leaving. So, some guys might even be short, thinking that you get a test of the 21-day. So we'll see. Or if you were out, you could be neutral if you don't want to be short. Google also, there's not much power here, right? Below the 8-day. So if you've been playing it since it got above the 8-day here, okay, this was your first close below, so maybe you reduce. If you don't want to be short, you don't have to be short, but maybe there's some momentum leaving, so you want to be a bit careful. What's up with the financials? Nothing really doing here, still weak. This one-day wonder got negated here on Goldman Sachs. It was even upgraded today and couldn't get anywhere, so see what's next there. TLTs, had a big move. We talked about when it reclaimed the 8 and 21-day here, Okay, remember when it reclaimed? You know, you had this downtrend, got above it, went sideways. You know, wasn't the most powerful, but still stayed above it, and now look at it. So if you're in it, I guess that's good. You know, Germany's negative yields. You have to pay to put money in the bank. So maybe some people would rather get, you know, a small percentage being in our government bonds for now until we go negative yields or not. So that's why the TLTs are up. Gold, you know, didn't have much traction today, but still, overall, if you look at the GLDs, it did hold. You know, the 50-day moving average here, and did open up and hold the majority of it. So if this was a stock, I would say, you know, looks like a nice upper consolidation where perhaps, you know, you've just consolidated and it can go higher. But recently, gold has been doing the opposite, you know, where it closes strong, goes down weak, closes weak, opens up. So just take a little bit of care if you're doing it from day to day and not, you know, just kind of macro holding it since here when it took the 200-day back. What else? As far as, what else? The IBBs, you know, gave you a trade, just acting better, you know, so giving you some signals that the market's just not going to fall apart. I did get long the options here, and I sold most of them, you know, into yesterday, and then today I said I'm just going to get out of it and I'll wait, and you know, it didn't fall apart. I thought maybe we'd come in and it would pull back more, and it didn't. So I said, you know, I have options for next Friday. Let me get out of there before they get rid of my premium. So bought it like at 520. Yesterday the highest sell was 1140. Today I think I got out somewhere in the 9s. So I'll wait. If we get a bull flag, maybe we could be a buyer of the IBBs intraday. Twitter started off strong on the NFL news. Not the greatest action today. You know, I was long the options and the stock. I still have some options left, but you know, I would have much rather have seen it, you know, take this out and close above it versus, you know, a red candle. But from where it came from, it's still not the end of the world. I guess if you could hold above this spot and move forward, maybe there's a little bit more action. You know, Twitter has been broken for a long time, so you can't get too excited about this name. But maybe, you know, maybe it's the start of something because it's so cheap. People are saying short Facebook, buy Twitter, but they've been saying that for a long time and hasn't worked yet. We'll see. So, you know, day by day, don't chase this thing. Or don't even overtrade it. That's why I bought the options, because I'm like, you know what, this thing doesn't trade well at all. So let me just buy the options just in case some things start happening here. You know, but yesterday it showed some strength on a daily chart, which is why I took it long. And we got kind of lucky with the futures down 16, 17 handles. It was up 50 cents. So not bad to be short the spiders long Twitter, and that was one of the only things up, and now it's down. It doesn't always happen like that. Well, the day before we got kind of legs swept with Facebook. So, you know, you got to manage your stuff. And with all that said, market's kind of been a little bit in no man's land. You know, we've had a huge move, starting to lose a little momentum. You know, we're getting a little closer to earnings, so there's less buybacks. There's more of a blackout. We're getting a little bit away from the start of a new month and a quarter. So if there was some new monthly flows that had to go in, maybe that's diminishing. That's why there's been low volume and a lack of power on the bounces. So we'll see if that creates an environment where we pull in and, you know, come 5% off the recent move, which would be constructive. So again, you look at the spiders real quick. We'll see what the story is tomorrow, or let's go SPX because I marked that up. You know, it wouldn't be such a bad thing to see this tomorrow. But again, we'll see how we open up. You know, all in all, you look at Germany. You know, Germany itself, you know, a lot of relative weakness there. You know, you had the 200-day, which we never got above, somewhat of an island top because you reversed below. So you have people trapped there. And then another big gap down. You know, it's below the, you know, 8-day and the 21-day. So maybe, you know, it wants to see the 50-day down here. But overall, not that impressive of a bounce in Europe. Maybe that's because of the strong dollar now. I mean, the strong euro, etc. But, you know, if this is, you know, this is just more of a headwind now than a tailwind. But it is a little bit oversold, so we'll see what happens tomorrow. So with all that said, I'm done. I'll see you in the morning, and hopefully we'll be able to navigate whatever the futures are doing, and we'll continue to just keep moving and grooving around these names because there is some two-way action, and I think guys are handling it very well. Have a good night.